Time to get agitated, Bobcat fans. It's time for BobcatTracks with Jungle Jake Ramada and Mighty Mike Schultze.
Our summer patio series brought to you by LaBatt Blue continues, but today we're finally going over the sweepstakes. Schultze, we've been teasing this for weeks.
We have.
We've got LaBatt written all over us. We got the LaBatt apparel today, too, on our podcast with the defensive coordinator, Spence Nowinsky. But before we get to Spence, we've got Justin Fry with us, senior market manager with FIFCO, and also a representative with LaBatt Blue. And a huge thanks to Justin. First things first, we've got you on. How are you today?
I'm good. Excited to be here. Excited to talk about this sweepstakes and talk about LaBatt.
Yeah, these sweepstakes. So we've talked about them. We're finally glad that we have someone from LaBatt that can also confirm this, because I felt like for a while we may have delivered some fake news to our fans and our listeners. But
yeah, and this is his first podcast ever. So welcome.
Yeah. Long-time listener of podcasts, first time being on one. So this is awesome.
Yeah, we're glad that we are your first. You're gonna remember this forever. I hope maybe one day you get on a bigger podcast. But anyway, let's go over our sweepstakes. So LaBatt Blue giving one Bobcat fan and a guest the chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime road trip experience this season. One lucky winner is going to receive a trip to Happy Valley to see the Bobcats take on the Nittany Lions on September 10th, 2022. So the sweepstakes includes a round-trip travel from Athens with the Bobcats football team, which is sweet.
That's sweet.
You travel on the team bus. You also stay at the team home hotel. 2 tickets for the game at Penn State. You also get a Bobcat swag bag and more. All this, too, brought to you by LaBatt Blue. So you can win the ultimate Bobcat road trip, that's what we're calling it, by visiting participating LaBatt Blue partners in the area and finding the LaBatt Blue summer display. Look for the QR code, which was designed by ours truly, Mike Schultze. And you
couple tries on it,
but scan that QR code for a free chance to enter this sweepstakes. So you must be 21 years or older to enter, obviously. No purchase necessary. You must enter prior to August 18th. So a little more than a month. You have to get to somebody that sells LaBatt Blue, seek out this QR code, get your name in there. So you'll be eligible for that prize. But if you do it after August 18th, you'll be eligible for a second prize, which I think is cool too. 2 Tower Club tickets and a dinner after the game against Akron on October 18th. And as you know, if you've circled it on your calendar, that Akron game is homecoming. So if you, right, Justin, if I get this. So if you if you scan the QR code before August 18th, you're still eligible for the homecoming experience too, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe so.
Just can't win both, right?
You can't win both.
Yeah, you just can't win both. And because it's ending such in a short window of like a month, that's why we have that secondary prize in there.
Yeah. So Justin, first things first, I mean, this is a super cool sweepstakes, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are super excited about this because Penn State, I mean, as you know, in 2012, probably, I don't know if you remember, but the Bobcats upset Penn State at that time, and homecoming is always just a rowdy time in Athens. So how did the sweepstakes come to life? Because I know you and our own Nathan Green from our Learfield staff have been working pretty hard to put this together.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it started back early this year in February. I went to my very first Bobcats basketball game. Never been. Amazing experience. Fans, student section. It was fantastic. And, since I was in town the next day, I worked the Athens market with our wholesaler. And I have a long drive home. I'm in Cincinnati. So on my way back, just thinking about my time in the market, we have this great relationship between LaBatt and, Bobcat athletics, and just asking myself, thinking, what can we do, to create some excitement, some additional excitement, some activation at retail throughout the summer, leading up to the start of school and the season. And I don't know how it came to be, but I landed on sweepstakes or text to win just because we've done that in other markets and it's been pretty successful. So I think I called one of our chain account managers, discussed some opportunities, right? What can we do to activate at retail? Gave Nathan from Ohio Sports Properties a call, pitched him the idea or just discussed it with him. And I know he's done similar sweepstakes in the past with us. Few meetings, brainstorming, and we have this awesome experience for fans and customers.
What game did you come to?
Oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to tell you that.
Did
It
we
was like
win?
you did.
All right, good.
It was 2 days. Actually, it was a funny story. It's 2 days before my birthday. Gosh, I can't tell you that.
That's right.
That's
we
all right.
won. That's
Yeah,
I
but
can't
you
remember
were
what I
wrong.
did 2 weeks ago, let alone try to remember when this came about.
Well, I'm guessing you sat courtside then, right? If you were,
I did. That was,
Nice.
that was probably my third basketball game I've ever been to that was above high school level. And that was the third, I should say that was my first Bobcats at home, second Bobcats game. I went to the Miami Oxford game when you guys were away there.
Ah, yes.
yeah, that was a good pummeling we
blew
gave
them
them.
out,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you mentioned that we've had a great relationship with LaBatt Blue for a while. I mean, you take a look at the Hardwood House and the Convocation Center, LaBatt Blue is all there. I think about all the coaches shows and the times that, Nathan has come with LaBatt Blue swag at like the Tim Albin show and the Jeff Bowles show too. So I think about what this does for both sides and why has this been such a successful partnership between the two?
Yeah, there's a few things that stand out to me in terms of this partnership. One is that this partnership brings experiences, excitement to the fans, customers, and to Athens. It's more than just advertising and selling beer. With the Hardwood House and the live remotes for the coaches show and those promotions that are done, those are all experiences that, that are done by LaBatt and Bobcat Athletics that create an emotional connection with the fans and customers. And, that's something that we really strive to do at LaBatt with our brand. Also, just the partnership itself is really what I enjoy being a part of. And it's been a true partnership from the beginning with LaBatt, Ohio Sports Properties, Bobcat Athletics. We're in this together to do everything together and create those types of experiences for the fans and customers. And that's how these things came to be. That's how this sweepstakes came to be. So, it's just those exciting things that we can create. And then one I have to say is the beginning of my beer sales and marketing experience actually started in Athens.
Good place.
I was an intern at LaBatt in Columbus, and when that was over, I had a sales route with Heidelberg down in Athens. Spent 2 years living on Richland Avenue, and my biggest beer brand was selling LaBatt down there. So it's almost kind of like coming full circle back with this partnership. So LaBatt, Athens, OU, it has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, why is it such a good fit? I mean, this market, when you guys pinpoint this too, because I think Nathan and I were talking a little bit. I mean, the LaBatt partnership's not really around the MAC a lot. I maybe Bowling Green, I think Nathan may have said, but I mean, LaBatt is here, and it seems like it's here to stay, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's as I mentioned, it's just our goal to create that emotional connection with consumers, right? And we always want to create and advertise and create experiences with our brands in a more localized way. Those things are extremely important to us. And I think our partnership and the way we advertise in Athens, it checks those boxes of what we want to accomplish. It's funny, the number of OU alumni I run into just wearing a simple LaBatt OU branded polo is absolutely crazy. And it's awesome to connect with them over that partnership, over this polo, talk about LaBatt, talk about their experience in Athens and in OU, and the amount of pullovers and polos I had to buy now because they saw one has been racking up. But that's why I think it's a good fit. This partnership creates that connection, creates the advertisement in Athens that we were looking for, and also being able to stay local.
Well, I think he's gonna have to buy 2 more, right?
Yeah, I think
give me your sizes, guys, and I'll get them on order. Don't worry.
I was gonna say we'll happily wear that on our next podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Just don't put my contact information on here. Then I start
sure.
your fans.
Won't tweet out we're giving 10 away or anything.
No,
we wouldn't do that.
No, I'm messing.
Well, hey, there was one more thing too. at least Nathan brought this up. I mean, when it comes to future Ohio/LaBatt plans, I know, okay, the sweepstakes is very generous, and we don't want to look anything past, you all sending someone to two people to Penn State, and also at Peden Stadium this fall. Looks like LaBatt Light Lime will be available at Peden Stadium next fall, and that's Nathan said that's a new drink, correct? If I'm correct.
It's no, it is new. So it's an amazing, refreshing beer. It's easily one of my favorites that we have. It's LaBatt Blue Light Lime. FIFCO, we partner with some of the best flavor houses in the world, right? Like we have Seagram's Escapes. That brand is known for flavors. So, we have this recipe for LaBatt Blue Light Lime. It brings a modern taste with natural lime flavor. It's awesome. And what's new about it is we repackaged it and it's now in slim cans, to line with those modern flavored beers that we're seeing out in the market. So that's very exciting. We know consumers love the slim cans. It's just an awesome beer. It's just a refreshing light Pilsner with infused flavors.
Anything else?
He's got to send a case of that too. I think.
Yeah.
I can definitely do that. That's going to be, we can definitely make that happen too.
Hey, so 2 polos will wear those, and then the case will drink all that on our next episode. How about that?
That's deal.
Yeah.
The polos might take a minute, so we'll have to get those made, but we can make sure the beer gets down there for sure.
Well,
count us.
Yeah. Well, I feel like any and all beer finds its way down to Athens.
Sure.
But anyway, all right. So find a QR code at anywhere that LaBatt is sold.
Participating LaBatt, retailers out in the market.
Well, Justin, next time you're in Athens, hit us up and we will
for sure.
We'll show you a good time.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely do that, and we'll make sure we get some things sent your way.
Yeah.
He's an Athens expert though. He lived here for 2 years. What's your favorite bar here?
Oh, you know what? The entire Court Street, because that was like the bulk of my route back in the day. So I enjoy being in and out of those bars on a weekly basis and going out there enjoying LaBatt at all those places.
Yeah, same. I don't get paid to do it though. So
well, hey, with Brew Week starting actually this Saturday too, did you enjoy Brew Week when you were down here as well?
I always did, because when I sold beer for Heidelberg, they have a great craft portfolio too. So especially with some local beers. So we participated, and unfortunately, I can't, talk to today and what that's like with them. But
that's true.
When I was there, we had a great presence with Brew Week, and I'm sure they still do. They still have some great Ohio craft breweries. But that was always a great event. Athens has always been really good. When the students are gone in the summer, you understand it kind of slows down, but it's a really great community to come around and put things together to keep it busy for the summer and, create some experiences.
Yeah. Justin, thanks so much for your time, man. And thank you and LaBatt Blue for everything you guys do for Ohio athletics. I mean, we love LaBatt Blue here. We drink at the coaches shows and all that stuff. And
awesome.
I always seek out LaBatt now. It's really, really awesome. So thank you so much. And also sponsoring the 2 goons and our summer patio series.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
We really appreciate it. So
no, it's a great partnership. Again, it goes back and forth here, and we're in this together. So it's again, thank you as well.
Thanks so much for your time. I know you're busy right now. You're busy recruiting. I know you're busy with friends and family too right now. You're still settling in Athens and everything. So thanks so much for your time. Overlooking Peden Stadium. Welcome to our patio series. By the way,
unbelievable. They should have like a monster truck or a demolition derby out here right now. They could have a heck of a big concert or something out here, like the mosh pit.
Yeah.
You know?
Who would you, if we could, your dream scenario, Peden Stadium concert, who would you have out here? It could be anybody dead or alive, Coach. Who would you have out here?
You know what? I gotta be honest. This probably isn't one that's dates me a little bit, but big Elvis fan. Went to the Elvis movie. Really enjoyed that.
What'd you think? My girlfriend's a big fan too. What'd you think?
I liked it. You know what I mean? I do. They're just, again, things about them, and you could wear the leather costumes. You're a big heavy dude, and you're throwing scarves to girls, and they're screaming and crying. I mean, that's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, anybody to have that talent and be able to do that, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
What's your favorite Elvis song?
I like Suspicious Minds.
Okay.
I like that one.
Okay.
I like that, and My Way, and go back and forth with Frank Sinatra and him, but I like Elvis singing My Way too. So again, it's a big deal. Kid Rock. I like Kid Rock up in here. I like the old headbangers. Like Guns N' Roses or Kiss. Something like that. I think it'd be a pretty good venue in here.
We'll talk to marketing for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, Coach, so we're going to talk shop for a little bit. I know we're already off the rails.
We'll go back to football. We won't talk about football too long.
Yeah. But welcome to Ohio. First things first.
You.
I know not a lot of our fans are starting to get familiar with you and things like that. But I know Scholze has some scheme questions. And
I don't know about that.
What you're like as a defensive coach. And, we know you came from Miami. That's the last time we'll mention that school.
Good. That's perfect. Perfect. I'm glad. Yes.
But let's talk about your defensive style. What do you like to do as a defensive coach to keep offenses off balance?
Multiplicity. Like to again. I always tell Coach Izzy this and Coach Albin this and Coach Rudy this, that hey, you guys are way smarter than me. I've got to confuse the quarterback. And that's the thing. All the offense coordinators out there, they have those big call sheets, and we don't. It's a small sheet and small menu of different situations and different places within on the field, and we have to create confusion for the quarterback. That's the guy that's is the manager on the field, obviously, and different things, different tempos. You have to be decisive. You have to again be able to execute your plan. It has to be simplistic. Can't be ultimate confusing for your personnel, but it's got to. Ultimately, we want to try to put the quarterback under duress, mentally and physically. So, believe it, getting after the quarterback. The non-negotiables of sprinting to the football and being physical. That's really what we hang our hat on. Being a selfless unit, being guys that play for each other. We talk about. We actually call ourselves the mutts on defense, and the reason that we call ourselves the mutts is, nobody has a pedigree. Everybody is an average Joe, and what makes us special is all 11 guys together, and that's where we get our pedigree, and that's our mindset. And everybody's got to do their job. Everybody's got to do their role. It's a count on me mentality. The 3 technique's going to do his job. The Mike linebacker's going to do his job. The corner's going to do his job. And every piece of the puzzle fits right. So that's what we're about. We're a selfless crowd that's going to play their butts off and then sprint to the football. And when we get there, we're going to get there with a bad attitude.
I like it. The mutts. We're going to steal that, and we're gonna blow that up.
Yeah, that's great. Please do.
That's awesome. So we've heard Coach talk a lot about the defensive line. What have you seen so far in your time at Athens that makes you really like that line? Because he thinks they're special, and I'm sure you do too.
I really like our defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's very strong. You always hear people say strong up the middle, and I think we're very, very strong up the middle. I think we've got kids that have a great experience inside, but kids that are talented too.
Sure.
And not just guys that are undersized. They're very good athletes, and they're big and they're physical and they're strong, and they're able to stay on the field on third down. And that's something that's I've never had the leisure of doing. You've always had a guy that might be a great run stopper, a first and second down player, somebody that's more of a liability on third down. I think we've got some inside guys that can keep on the field on third down too. And then there's quite a few guys in there. So, which is really, really nice because guys do get dinged up as the season goes on. But it's really nice to keep guys fresh, obviously, and rotate. I like to rotate the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep guys fresh. Obviously, you have to have the individuals that are going to make plays when those plays need to be made at the critical situations of the game. So that's again getting the best people on the field. But the defensive line, particularly the guys inside, Coach is right. They're been very encouraged by them. I think they're really good leaders as well. But they're very, very good MAC football players, and I'm glad we have them.
So what goes into the decision? You talked about rotating them out. Yeah. what goes into the decision? Is it a series based? Is it? I understand that maybe third down you take out your run stoppers, but when you have those hybrid guys that can do both, what goes into the decision of when to pull them out? Is it fatigue or what?
It's fatigue.
Yeah.
It's fatigue. The weather early in the season.
Sure.
Again, but critical 2-minute situation. You need to get a stop before the half, or obviously the end of the game. To win the game, you have to have your best guys on the field.
Right.
But a lot of it goes by fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
kind of knowing where everybody's at from you get into the meat of the season and where they are from a physical standpoint as far as their health. Guys get dinged up. It's not if and when. Guys are all feeling probably not the greatest by the time you get through the midway of the MAC season.
Sure.
And played a lot of football.
Sure.
So you manage that the best you can too. And that comes with the workload during the week. It's something that when we start fall camp here in August that we'll get after them really, really heavy the first couple of weeks, and then you have to have the right time to back off them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be smart with the management of that. So that's kind of the same thing with our management of the game. Kind of see how guys are doing and where they're at. And guys are always honest. They'll tell you, of course we want guys that are going to make plays on the field, but there's times that you have to put the number 2, number 3 in.
Sure.
So that's all part of it.
We're not singling anybody out. Do you think the defensive line is the strongest unit on the defensive tackle is the strongest unit on defense? We're not disparaging anybody, to be clear, but or is there another strong unit that you have right now?
I think the D tackles are probably one of the tops. I like our inside linebackers.
Yeah.
We've kind of cycled through a bunch of guys, and we've experimented with several different things this past spring and into the summer. The OTAs that we're able to run during the summertime have been instrumental to where we are right now, versus ending spring ball and just coming back August 1. We'd be able to have great continuum over the summertime. But I like our inside linebackers. Bryce Houston and Key Thompson, they're really good players. Mm-hmm. So excited about what they bring, and they're also really terrific leaders. They're tough guys that love football, and they're very, very smart. So again, that's another layer up the middle. Defensive tackles, and then the inside backers are that's a nice problem to have right now with those guys. So, and then I think behind them the safeties. Ben Johnson and Tyreek Drake, I think they've done a great job from the spring into the summer as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited about those guys. So again, that's the third layer down the middle. So
Yeah.
we have to make sure now that we're strong at nickel. We have to make sure we're strong at our defensive ends, and we've got and our corners, and we've got great candidates though. It's not like maybe lacking experience more than anything. So we're trying to establish that and get that sorted out, but many great prospects right now at those other positions. But I would say most definitely up the middle we're very strong.
Awesome. So we're stopping the run, huh?
Stopping the run.
I love it. I love it. Kai Caesar. He's a character, huh?
He is. He's one of my favorite guys. He really is.
He's awesome.
He's got a great personality. He's a terrific leader.
Yeah.
He's fun to be around. He's very mature for his age. As much of a big kid he is, and like you're saying, he's got a big personality.
Yeah.
He is very mature, though.
He's awesome.
He's the guy that stands up in front of the team,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the issue is. Maybe not football, whatever it is.
Right.
He'll be the first to ask a question, or he'll speak up, and guys listen. There's one day we were going over the indoor, and he's on his bike. You could hear him coming out of the locker, and he started screaming. Just talking like you could hear him, but it was
Yeah.
And then we got done with practice, and same thing. The same thing with the bike. He is a character. He's a great kid to have on the team.
Well, we put him to work too, and
We
he
do.
works for us. He made some content for us last year, hosted some not like a game show, but he was like interviewing other players, and he was phenomenal at it. He's good at everything he does.
He really is.
It's awesome. I love that kid.
I do too.
How have you been able to bond with the guys?
That's been the cool part. The first thing I did when we got here was met with everybody individually, and just want to find out more about them. I wanted them to understand me. Again, I'm not for everybody, but those that I am for usually like me pretty good. So that was the first thing to do, was to sit down with every single kid, and everything from school to girlfriends to family. We talk, what they like to do for fun, and that was big. That was big, and we've gone to dinner, just spent time. Guys come by the office, sit down, met with different groups at practice. I like to work with different positions every day, and I think that's big, because if you go and work with them every day, it's just a little bit more of a bond building, and you're in it together. Even though we are one group, we're the mutts, it's still that you have your every group, and every group's not the same.
Sure.
So it's important. I've been more, obviously, over the years with the defensive line and linebackers. I like going to work with DBs, and I've made sure I've done that now. And when you're invested in them, your interactions with them, your communication with them it's just more impactful. Sure. And they know where you're coming from. It's not like, hey, you're just yelling at me always. It's it's a little bit of ability to go over and you're praising me always. That it's one of those things that I'm able to do when I kind of bounce around a little bit. And our staff is very fortunate to have the great defensive staff that allows me to do that. So if I'm not working with the defensive ends, Coach Scott's working with the whole defensive line, and I go and work with another group. And I really enjoy doing that.
That's awesome. What's the biggest difference you think on the defensive side we're going to see from last year or previous years with you at the helm?
Well, I think that, Coach Burrow's in town. Coach Collins, before he left, I got to spend time with him. Ohio football's, and I said this once before in another interview, that the people of Southeast Ohio are gritty. They're tough people. And that's more than anything. You think, like, when I got here, that's the first thing that I noticed. Our work ethic, our attitude. There's, again, knock on wood, nobody complains. There's nobody says, hey, everybody's in. Everybody's in. And everybody's really excited about the season. And what I mean is, there's no magic wand. There's no Harry Potter. I don't have that. But what we're trying to do is do the little things right. We're and like I said, we're going to sprint to the football, and we're going to hit. And Coach Burrow is a terrific coach. Coach Collins, a terrific coach.
Oh yeah.
It just kind of what we're trying to put together here is from a mindset of not being incredibly difficult. We're trying to have guys play ball, play fast, and understand what they're doing. Not hesitate, not worry, let it go. We always talk about, if you're going to make a mistake, make it fast. Be decisive, make a decision, and that's so many times I think that kids have that. Say, like, they seize up or they freeze up because they are thinking things out. You got to let it go sometimes. Now, we want smart guys. We do want smart guys that can make those decisions at a rapid pace. But we also want guys that are going to take risks and let it go.
Yeah.
That's all part of it.
Right. You want to get into his career? You got a question?
Yeah,
what do you want to talk about?
We've talked shot for a little bit, so thanks, Coach.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about some previous stops?
Absolutely.
I want to start at the beginning of your coaching career as a GA up at Wisconsin.
Great years.
I was going to say,
great years.
Yeah, you had some great years. So what were your responsibilities as a GA? Because you guys had such. I'm sure at Wisconsin it works a little differently here. Well,
not really. It's way different because the rules are different now. So when I was a GA, I was the only one on defense, and we only had one on offense. Now we have two on each side of the ball. Gotcha. And also kind of where it's the staffs at FBS football have like student assistants, and they have analysts, and in all those different positions. We didn't have those. So I'll be honest, I was a full-time school teacher and a high school coach, and I left that. We were very, very successful, state champion, state runner-up, quarterfinals, and I left that to go be a GA. So it was very humbling. It was going from, I wasn't making a lot on my first job. I made $19,000, but then I made $600 a month as a GA. So you go from that dynamic, and it's like, oh, dog, it's hard to survive. And the workload and not really understanding all the technology, from a high school coach, computers, and we'd use that. You still had hand-drawn playbooks. So that was the biggest, having to really, Excel and Word and all those things. I really kind of taught myself, and I did it late at night. We'd get done in the office, and I'd sit in the computer, and I'd kind of self-teach myself, Excel. I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to do PowerPoint. Didn't know how to do, different drawing programs. So I had to kind of teach myself how to do all that stuff. And that was just for me. It was I was putting a lot of hours in and not sleeping very much, and then having the workload of a bunch of people. I was only one. So, and then I worked with the defensive line there. I worked with the defense. I had great mentors. Barry Alvarez, I go down to saying he's one of the all-time greats for a reason. He is a guy that just has unbelievable feel with the staff, unbelievable feel with the team. Let guys coach, but he knew when to always speak up. He knew when to step. It was really uncanny of him having that right feel. He would grind and grind and grind and grind and grind on the players, and then he knew when to let them go, and they always flourished. We would go be at the Rose Bowl, be the Alamo Bowl, be the Sun Bowl. He always had, when we got to the site, there was no curfew. So, of course, guys went out and rode hard and had a bunch of fun. But then the next day, we'd have the hardest practice of the year. It would be like fall camp again. And I would look over and I'd see Ron Dane, who was one of those guys that didn't get in real early. And he was we were doing 30 minutes of 9 on 7. And he was taking, majority of the reps. So it was one of those things, play hard, we're going to practice hard. And he really enjoyed it. Win. It wouldn't matter who we beat. And I think that's the other art you get. After a win, people are miserable still. You just won a game. It's we didn't win good enough or didn't win by enough, and too hard to win. Too hard to win. And that Coach Alvarez always didn't matter if we beat a FCS team or a lowly FBS team. He was always wow, that was a great Ball State team. It was a great road Ball State team. He'd say the locker room always afterwards. And that was, and you want to know something? That's right. We'll worry about the details and get everything worked out tomorrow. And that mindset's always kind of stuck with me too. And so when guys don't always enjoy those wins, it kind of disappoints me because they don't come. They're hard to get.
So you were on the defensive side of the ball, obviously. You had to stop Ron Dane in practice.
Yeah, we always did.
How did you do that?
You want to know something? It was we had really good. We had good players in defense, so too. A bunch of guys that, and really ultimately, we didn't call ourselves the Mutts there, but really we're the Mutts. And I think the magic behind it. I talked about Coach Alvarez, but what else he brought, and he brought it from Nebraska. Him and Coach Solich are very, very close friends. It was the walk-on program, and there were so many kids that were past walk-ons that had earned a scholarship, and they were part of that defense. And they were just smart, tough guys who love football. And that's what we have here. And that's what, it takes me back to those years because that's what that locker room was like. Gritty dudes. Wasn't, and again, nobody had an Ohio State offer. Nobody had, a SEC offer.
Right.
It was just regular blue-collar dudes that went and worked. And that's what we have here.
Awesome. So I know in 2000, you guys beat UCLA in the Sun Bowl. Who would have thought that 24 years later in 2024 that they'll eventually have a Big Ten?
It's a Big Ten game.
Yeah, it's a Big Ten game.
Yep. That was that's really interesting. Now a lot of those dominoes, how they're falling.
Yeah.
It's the whole future of college football is and basketball is really interesting here in the next probably 5 years. What's going to truly happen? But that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one right there.
Yeah, I was just going through some of those games. I'm like, wow, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Because honestly, is it really that long ago? 24.
No, it's not that long ago.
2000. I kind of remember 2000, but it's just crazy how things have just taken shape a little bit. But you mentioned I mean, your first year in 1999, you go to the Rose Bowl, and you guys play Stanford. And you mentioned you had some high school success in the years prior to that. Just crazy to go from state champion all of a sudden, then to you win a Rose Bowl just literally like a year later.
You know what? I remember I was in the tunnel, and I think like William Shatner, Captain Kirk, was the Grand Marshal. So you look over and you see Captain Kirk, and you start seeing like the stealth bombers go. I mean, that's when it probably hit you.
Yeah.
You know, it was really cool. It was really cool. But I'll be honest, leading up to that, there was like, you know, the pageantry, obviously, of the Rose Bowl. But there's things like, it's very white glove and blue collar. You know, it's not like going to some of those other bowls where they really appreciate that you're there. You know, it's like almost like the Rose Bowl is one of those things that you're lucky to be here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're very, very, we're going to, you know, we bequeath this honor to you.
The game's almost second fiddle sometimes at the Rose Bowl. I mean, because they've got the parade and the dinners, and the game is just part of the week. It's not the game and then everything else. It's the Rose Bowl week, and then it just ends with the game.
You're right. And it was cool because, you know, Keith Jackson was a part. You know, it was really cool. But as far as like fun, I think a bunch of other bowls have been really, really fun.
What's the most fun you've had in the postseason?
You know, and I was talking to a high school family a couple weeks ago, and just talking about the playoffs. I really enjoyed FCS football. The playoffs are second to none. You know, it's every week. You don't know what your destiny is going to be. Yeah. You're playing to survive. You don't. Again, your preparation. It's like, well, this team I think is going to win, but might not win, and so you don't know really who you're going to totally get ready for the next day. You know, so it's to me it's exciting, and a lot of different variables that come with it. You know, are you hosting? Are you on the road?
Right.
You know, like the year we went to the national championship at Illinois State, we were on the road. You know, we were out Eastern Washington to New Hampshire. We were, you know, back and forth, and it was like one of those things that, you know, didn't know, but it was so much fun than being on that long flight on the way home, and everybody is so happy. You know what I mean? Like, even though you haven't won the championship yet, everybody's ecstatic. You know that you're still alive for the next week. So I just think that's really cool. But the postseason, again, I think everything is awesome. You know, really, what I love about the postseason is in the bowl division is you have that time to practice. Mm-hmm. So it's like a kickoff to spring. It's a precursor to spring. You can really see what a bunch of young guys have, and you get to spend time with them. And just from, you know, being able to develop players, that's instrumental. You have to be in a bowl game to really get that extra developmental time with your team, and that's one of the big things. But it's cool because, you know, school's out, so you don't have those other distractions. You're the only ones here. So that's all, you know, from the family. Again, Thanksgiving, getting to Christmas, all those things. You know, so I have two sons, and my oldest is going to be 13 in August. My youngest is 10, and they love being a part of it. You know, there's two of them, but with the guys in the team, it's like they have 40 or 50 brothers every year, and that's pretty cool. You know, from a dad and just from like role models, being able to see, hey, look at how Bryce Houston does that. Did you see how hard Casey worked? Did you see how Rodney Matthews took, you know, all those things? You know, okay, listen, we just turned the ball over. How did Curtis Rourke respond to that? Those are all those things like I can use as mentorship for my kids as a coach to your sons. There's nothing better that you can use for role models, and that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, the SCS playoffs are a lot like high school playoffs, right? It feels a lot like obviously it's a much more elite level football, but I mean the way you play on Saturday, you don't know where you're going the next week. You got to prep for two teams. You hope the team you prep for more wins.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you don't know if you're going to the southeast part of the state, northeast part of the state. It's the same thing. Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. And the best part about Bowl Week for us is well, the bar. But I mean, it's hopefully
LaBatt Blue.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 weeks of practice that you get extra. do you think every team should get that no matter if they make a bowl game or not?
I don't, because I think that it's an honor to go to a bowl.
Yeah.
It's something that you've done from your hard work.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extra bonus for your team,
Sure.
for your staff, for your families,
Sure.
for the administration, for the school, for the fans. I don't think it's for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be nice if you could? Yes. There's one year that we were 6-6 and we were bowl eligible. We didn't get a bowl, and do I believe that they should probably get a chance to practice then? But if you're not bowl
Sure.
eligible,
You earned it. You're right.
exactly. But I think then I think it's all part of what you did during this season.
Do you? This is a hard question. Do you have who's the best player you've ever coached? Talent-wise.
Talent-wise, Shelby Harris. He is a defensive tackle now for the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
He was a handful. He was a big character. We would get a lot of calls. My kids were little at the time, real little, and the phone would ring probably every Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday and Tuesday night, and it was usually something involving him.
Sure.
But he was ultra competitive, and that to me is like, there's guys that are talented. There are guys that have this dimension, this measurable, but the competitive bone is like nothing else.
Yeah.
He wouldn't come off the field as much as he might have hated practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, as much as I hated him at practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Saturday, I never hated him.
Sure, yeah.
So that was one of those things. And that's why he's still in the NFL. That's why he's making $40 million or whatever it is right now. So he is probably one of the all-time biggest talents.
I know you mentioned Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin, but anybody else that you looked up to that maybe influenced your coaching career?
I've had a bunch of good mentors. I've had a bunch of great mentors. I would say along those lines, a gentleman by the name of John Palermo, who I worked with the defensive line, was at Wisconsin forever, Tennessee, Miami, Washington, Redskins at the time. A bunch of great defensive linemen. The philosophy that I learned from him, the fundamentals that I learned from him is what I use today and what I believe in. A gentleman named Phil Almation, who had been a D coordinator. He was DB coach when I was at Wisconsin, but then he was a D coordinator my first year at Illinois State, and Purdue and Nebraska, LSU, Washington, Virginia Tech. Had been a D coordinator. Marshall had a tremendous storied past. What his philosophy of the overall scheme, the big picture of football, I take away from him. Brock's back at Illinois State. Tough guy, knows how to prepare. He's a defensive coordinator for Joe Tiller, many years at Purdue, Wyoming. He's a guy that a lot of philosophy as far as recruiting goes from him. He was a tough guy that knew how to get guys prepared. Never backed down. Things that he believed in, and we did them. Toughness in the weight room, toughness in summer conditioning, toughness at fall camp. I remember the first winter there was no indoor there, and it was below zero in March, and guys had frostbite on their hands. And because we're doing mat drills, we're doing up downs, we're doing all kinds of different circuits, county fair on the turf. That's the only place we could. And it's 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And we did that for 5 weeks straight. 5 weeks straight. Sometimes people take we did 5 weeks straight. And he was trying to weed guys out. That's a part of it when you take a program over, trying to weed guys out. But he never relented. And I really respect that. Again, there's those decisions, like sometimes you're playing Russian roulette and sometimes you're gambling a little bit those times, but he never wavered. And I really respect that from him.
Coach, I know you have somewhere to be. I'm just letting you know it's 103. So
Wow.
Perfect.
Just letting you know.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can kick us out.
Still
You
good.
can tell us to shut up.
Yeah,
whenever you want.
just letting you know if you need to go. I know you have somewhere to be, so if you want to go somewhere, go
I
for
do.
it.
I do, but I'm kind of dreading it, though. To be
Yeah.
honest with
all
you,
right.
I'm kind of just. I'd much rather sit here and talk about LaBatts and talk
Yeah,
about
same.
football, and Talk about pack. You know what? WWE wrestling would be big.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Would that have been big?
Yeah.
Well, the Convo has hosted that in the past.
Yeah.
And the Convo is an elite WWE
Oh, I
venue.
bet.
It's one deck, 13,000 seats. You could put the ring in the middle. Fans could be right on top.
That's great.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
My kids are crazy about it, especially
Really?
my little guy. Are you big?
You know, it got a little too predictable for me at times, so I'm like, man. So now I haven't watched consistently in about a year or two, but anyway, yeah. So who are your kids big fans of then?
Oh, they like with the bloodline, like the bloodline right now.
Okay, yeah,
you know?
yeah, with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman
Paul
Reigns and that.
Heyman's
Yes,
back,
yes.
Usos.
Dusty Rhodes' son.
Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
He just wrestled Hell in a Cell with a torn pectoral. I mean, I don't know if you're.
No, you know what? And I don't always. We'll watch it like the replays or whatever, and I'll catch a part of it. When I started out, I said I was a high school coach, but I was like a middle school teacher, and the kids were crazy about it at that time.
Yeah.
You know, but that was like we'd watch, and then on Sundays we'd watch the pay-per-views. Like kids, we get together with the kids at school, be like, guys would throw $5 in, and we'd get the pay-per-view, and it was awesome.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so it used to be really like in it, like probably the mid to late '90s. I mean, it was big time. A Stone Cold shirt. Had a Stone Cold 316 shirt.
Yeah.
We got a picture of you in that?
You know what? I don't know. I have to probably look it up with old
Yeah, we might have
pictures.
to tweet that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a big Undertaker guy.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, it was cool seeing The Rock when he came back to wrestle John Cena for 5 WrestleManias in a row because they're money hungry about that matchup and stuff. So.
I know nothing about
You
this
know nothing.
conversation.
That's fine. But yeah, I think WWE would be hilarious in the Convo. People around here they would eat that up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what's awesome about though too is that's one thing. Like I grew up in a small town, and we didn't have a whole lot, and they used to be in the old high school gyms. And that was a couple bucks ago. And my dad always took us, and then my dad could care less about it, but it was all the nuts. He used to love to people watch, and my dad, because people would be going crazy.
Oh, all the time.
And my dad would die. We'd be absolutely belly laughing, and me and my brother were into it. We were like, this is the greatest thing going, but he would be laughing hysterically the whole time.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, you don't realize how many fans there are until you go to, like, a WrestleMania. I went to one in Orlando a couple of years ago, and I'm just like, there are this many of us, around. I mean, the place is packed. There's not an open seat in the house. And they have, the access events, and people dress up and, cosplay and things like that. I'm like, gosh, you think you're a big fan until you go to one of these things, and you just have these insane people. It's fun to go to.
Like I said, my 10-year-old loves it, right now. So then the four of us were in a room, and every morning he'd be one. He'd have me my leg rolled up, and he'd be like 1, 2, 3, counting me up. He'd be laying there flat next to my wife, and every morning. So and he'd be splashing me, putting me in what's the RKO or the guillotine. He'd be locking it up on me, And so it's but it's fun. I mean, every morning. Every morning.
It's just hilarious because WWE, they always have the "please don't try this at home" thing. But kids are jumping off the sofa and off the diving board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're doing
absolutely
swanton bombs off the diving board in the pool. I mean, you see videos of guys F5ing their brothers in the pool and stuff like that. So,
Can I ask you about Athens?
Yes.
You're building a house here.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite spot, restaurant, bar? I know you got 2 kids.
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of great places. We went to Little Fish. I thought that was a great place.
That's awesome.
Eclipse. I think that's a great place.
We love Eclipse.
And then you know what? We've gone to the North End. I'm usually not a real fancy guy. I'm more what is it? The Cat Club or the Cat? What's the Bobcat Club or Cat? It's over on the corner over here.
Cat's Corner?
Cat's Corner. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm more. That's more my speed. But
Sure.
kind of gone on. What's the Mexican place I just talked about?
North End.
North End. That's a cool place.
Yeah.
So
Patio's awesome.
yes.
Yeah, it is.
So those have kind of been the places, and truthfully been here a lot. So kind of still transitioning. We're still back and forth a little bit. So until our home is ready, it's going to be but we're a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
Well, if you need pizza recommendations for the family, I got you.
Good.
Need anything at all, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking to 2 Bobcat nut cases
Yeah.
right
I
here.
love it.
We've been here
We've
for
been
a
here
while, so
way too long.
yeah. Well,
More
Coach,
than you want.
Coach, you got somewhere to be. Thanks so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your
Thank
time.
you. Really appreciate it.
We're
Thank you.
going to talk. There's so much we didn't cover. We're going to talk to you again during
Anytime.
the season. So
Anytime.
You're going to be sick of us. We'll be at practice. We'll be around. We ask you to do stuff you don't want to do. You'll be sick of us.
Yeah. So if there's ever a time where like, just get out of here.
Yeah, you kick us out.
Yeah. Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.